Tonight, sex, money, and the audio tapes. NBC News confirming the president's longtime lawyer, former fixer Michael Cohen, secretly recorded a conversation with then-candidate Trump about former Playboy model Karen McDougal, who claimed she had a year-long affair with Mr. Trump more than a decade ago. A source familiar with the president's legal strategy says heard on that recording made just 2 months before the 2016 election, the men discussing whether to reimburse the National Enquirer's parent company, which bought the rights to McDougal's story. The White House denies any affair took place.
I'm not a liar. I'm perceived as a liar or this and that, all these bad names. I did what I did. I'm not proud of it.
The FBI seizing the recording this year during a raid on Cohen's office, according to the New York Times. Part of the Justice Department's investigation into Cohen's role paying women to avoid potentially embarrassing headlines about Mr. Trump ahead of the election. The president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, says Mr. Trump never made that payment. No story about the alleged affair was ever published. The recording, the Wall Street Journal reports, is less than 2 minutes long and cuts off before the conversation ends.
Did Michael Cohen betray you, Mr. President?
Tonight, President Trump ignoring reporters' questions. The revelations highlight tactics used by the president's lawyer to keep his personal life secret, demonstrating the legal and political threat Cohen may pose to the president. After Cohen, who a year ago said he'd take a bullet for Mr. Trump, now says he puts family and country first.
Are you worried that Michael Cohen might flip?
Look, I did nothing wrong. You have to understand. This stuff would have come out a long time ago. I did nothing wrong.
Is
I don't do anything wrong.
Rudy Giuliani says the recording shows President Trump did nothing wrong, but tonight Michael Cohen's lawyer tells NBC News, quote, any attempt at spin cannot change what is on the tape.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.